Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of DB's Comic Talk, episode 10. We're doing Doomsday Clock Issue number 2, and as a little bonus on the back, we'll talk about Phoenix Resurrection since that came out in the same day. A little late on this one, it came out last week, but it was Christmas and New Year, so Happy New Year, Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope you had a good one. So let's jump into this one. Issue number 2, we've been looking forward to this one. Thanks everybody that watched a breakdown of issue number 1. This one, right back into it, it was pretty good. It was, I really enjoyed it. It goes by very quickly, but, the no ads inside of it make it a really nice, easy read. And it's pretty interesting so far. So I'm really pleased with it. This one just starts off giving you a little breakdown of, these two new characters, Marionette and the Mime, who I have to say I really like both these characters. I hope they do more with them as like staple DC villains. They're just really good. They're interesting, the way they act, the way they are. Kind of like a Joker and Harley Quinn, I guess people would say. I saw some people talking about they just feel like they're a couple of knockoffs, but I think they're a little bit more interesting than that. They're husband and wife. The Mime seems really crazy with all his imaginary weapons and stuff. I hope they get into that a little bit more. Maybe he has some sort of power we haven't seen yet. But they just have them. It's just showing you they're going through like a bank heist and what they did. They're actually getting ready to go with Ozymandias and Rorschach on their trip, but they're also showing you a little bit of their past where they robbed a bank, really messed with some people, cut a guy's finger off, all kinds of stuff. And they were eventually, as they were about to kill this guy, stopped by Dr. Manhattan, who kind of just teleported in. And the funny thing about it is the bank manager seemed to knew that Manhattan would be there because he kept saying, "You're messing with the wrong bank." And then when he showed up, he said, "I told you so. You picked the wrong one." And the Mime points like an imaginary gun at him, and Manhattan's ready to like blow him away until this lady steps in. The Marionette steps in and says, "Please don't kill him." And he can tell that she's pregnant because that's one of the things that they have a child together now that Adrian Veidt promised that they would reunite him with their child. So Manhattan chose to spare him at that time. And it then goes in to show you a little bit about them leaving. They're getting inside of Night Owl's ship and they're taking off. Ozymandias has a way to get to the DC universe where he has tracked Manhattan to. Cool picture here. I mean, the art is really, really good. I really enjoy it. I mean, the images here of like the world exploding because a nuclear bomb actually hits New York right while they're teleporting out. I mean, it's pretty crazy and a little graphic. They're not too bad, but it's intense. They like get out just in time. The world's really on edge. It's a very touchy subject, especially at this day and age with all the stuff that we hear about in the news. So they somehow escape. They end up over here in with the DC universe. The next page you see, there's some talk here where like there's people protesting against Batman. Now, I'm not sure if where this lies in a continuum, if this is taking place after the Dark Knight's Metal storyline, because I could see why people would hate Batman after that event. That was very bad for Batman's image, all the stuff that happened there. But they don't really say where this takes place. They're just you just see a lot of anti-Bat protests, and he has to go to some mandatory therapy. Of course, they're doing Rorschach type stuff, which ties it all in. But it's very heavy on the whole anti-Batman right now. Then you see them land. They crash a ship. I don't know how the hell they survived because it looks like they hit a building, landed in a junkyard. But they leave the Marionette and Mime handcuffed in the ship, and Ozzy and Rorschach go out to find Manhattan. Now, the little lynx creature that he has, he claims that this isn't just a pet, that it's the words he uses, it's a compass that's leading them to Manhattan. I'm not really sure how that's working, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Their journey takes them to the library where they're basically reading all these different information about the DC universe, and you can see the effects of cancer really weighing on Ozymandias. He's getting these headaches. He's sort of falling apart. And he comes up that they're going to start with the two smartest people in this world. That's how they're going to find Manhattan. And one of the things they say about it is the two smartest people are Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor. So I knew right away who was going to choose who and where they were going to go. I mean, there wasn't much suspense there. But, of course, he says, I'm going to start with the smartest one, Ozymandias says, and he's going to go see Lex Luthor, saying that Lex is the smartest, and Rorschach and Batman, because everybody wants to see Rorschach and Batman. So you get a glimpse of Rorschach showing up at Wayne Manor, and it's really cool the way he eats Batman's pancakes. Then he just sort of sits in the library looking around. He's listening to the floor, tapping on walls, and he basically finds the Batcave, which triggers in an alarm for Batman and sends Batman come running. At that time, Lex stumbles across Ozymandias, and they have a pretty unique conversation where Lex actually says, if you're about how did he get in here, who are you? I'm the smartest man on my planet. I want to talk to you. They kind of go back and forth till you see Lex sort of recap the plan that Ozzy did, and he tells him, if you're the smartest man on your planet, I'd hate to meet the dumbest, meaning that it's not really the best plan. Lex would have came up with a better plan. So these two, the interaction together, are going to be really interesting. I mean, they're both kind of that megalomaniac, genius-level intellect. The twist, though, is all of a sudden someone shows up and starts shooting at Lex and at Ozymandias, and when you go to the next page, it's revealed that it's the comedian, which, I mean, that threw me a little bit there. I kind of had a feeling they were going to bring him back, but I thought he would be brought back in the Watchmen world. I'm really not sure what it is. Maybe it's not even really the comedian. This could be Dr. Manhattan pretending to be him, but he says, he's ready for him. He's going to try and kill him. And then in the bottom, you see a scene of Batman and Rorschach face-to-face. Rorschach had some good comments along the way there about what kind of person has trophies in the Batcave, which kind of person does this. Basically, second-guessing the kind of hero Batman is. And when they meet face-to-face, Batman says, you ate my breakfast, and he says, yeah, I did. So it'll be interesting to see how these two characters play out. They're both very dark and brooding. I would love to see them team up a little bit. I'm sure they're going to have to fight like they always do. But I like the direction it's going. It's really interesting, the mixture of them. I feel if you're a Watchmen fan, I don't know why you really wouldn't like this book. I feel they're doing them justice. They're just mixing great characters that were left for so long in with other great characters. The one interesting twist, and if you listen to our podcast regularly, one thing that Ken had brought up once was that possibly Dr. Manhattan's been a superhero over here. He's compared him to Captain Atom. They actually mention that in here, that Ozymandias' theory is that Dr. Manhattan may have been living in this world for a long time as a hero. I mean, wouldn't it be a trip if he turned out that he was really Superman? Or, I mean, Captain Atom is the obvious one because their powers are so similar. But what if he actually turns out to be somebody we weren't expecting? I think they could go in many directions with this. So I'm really excited to see how this plays out over the next 10 issues. I suggest reading it, going to get it. I definitely am rating it high. It's one of the more intriguing books I've read in a while. And yeah, check it out. Let me know what you think about it. I would love to hear some impact and feedback on it and talk about it a little bit, because it's an exciting book and there's a lot of theories you can get into in talking about it. And that's about it for Doomsday Clock. A little added bonus here for you. I figured while I picked up Doomsday Clock, I saw Phoenix Resurrection in here. I'm not going to go heavy page to page like I do with everything in here, just kind of round this one out a little bit. This is the return of Jean Grey. I haven't been reading Jean Grey's solo title where she's kind of been coming back. This is the book, it's lenticular cover hour again at Marvel with all these books. But this is getting into the resurrection of the original Jean. The book is just very strange. It's mostly just about all the X-Men getting together because something popped up on the Cerebro radar, a signature like they haven't seen. There's a couple kids lying around that are like comatose, using different mutant powers. So they gather a whole bunch of X-Men from all different kind of books, put them all together, and they go searching. Some of the key things about it is that when you flash back to this little town, it looks like Jean is actually alive, and she's a waitress, and she's working in this diner. So she's not coming back from space or anything like that. It just seems she's already on Earth. And the weird part is there's a guy that looks just like Banshee, who they call Mr. Cassidy, sitting in the diner waiting on her. And, I mean, Banshee's been dead for some years. And then going with the theme of dead people, at the end of the book, Jean's parents are alive. Cyclops comes to the door. She says, "Hi, Scott." He says, "Hi, sweetheart." So they're obviously together. So I'm not really sure where they're going with Phoenix Resurrection. It just seems like Jean's alive. She's here somewhere. They've kind of done stuff like this before where she returns to Earth and doesn't realize what she is. But I want to have Jean back. I'd like them to bring all the original X-Men back, Cyclops and everybody included. So maybe this will lead to some of that, and we'll see where that goes. It's not bad. It really wasn't great. Marvel Legacy was better than this book, but it's okay. If you're an X-Men fan, I would suggest checking it out because you want to see how Jean comes back. But hopefully it gets better. It wasn't as good as Doomsday Clock, but that's my review. So, again, Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it. And take care. And we'll see you on our podcast this Friday and more YouTube content coming this week. Thanks. Bye-bye.